This review contains spoilers. We start with Alma waking up on the street. She was sleepwalking. We jumped into her job and she is talking to the kids. After this, her father shows up and he explains to her how he and she are experiencing reality and time. Alma learns that Jacob found out something about time travel. She gets a toy from Jacob to anchor her in the regular flow of time, and she is embracing the idea that her father got murdered. Let's jump into the review, shall we? Alma wakes up on the street. We hear a woman say something, but I cannot understand what she is saying and the subtitles don't show anything either. But I understand her waking up on the street and not understanding the woman as a picture for Alma not having control in her life, and the not understanding of the person part as her disconnection from the world. She comes back home and notices that the photos in the hallway are in a different order. She asks Sam if he changed it, and he negated it. I think that through her changing perception of time, she confuses the order. Or Sam is salty because she broke up with him and wants to mess around with her mind, which I don't think that this is the case. Alma has her first day in kindergarten and she talks with the kids about the accident. One of them asks her if she was scared. She says that she doesn't remember, but we see that this question pushes her to relive it. Then it jumps to Becca's wedding dress buying day. She explains to the boy and Becca that the doctor said that not remembering things is normal for a trauma. Another kid asks her if she has scars. She shows the bruises she got from the accident. Then the boy seems to notice a scar on her arm, and we get an explanation of why she did this. I think we have seen this event in a montage in the previous episode. Now we know that she tried to kill herself because she thought it was her fault that her father died. I'm curious if this also has to do with her perception of time. The same kid then asks what dying means and she sees the boy drowning and then she gets headache. Which leads to Jacob showing up. She tells him that she cannot go on like this. He answers that she can do this because she will and because in a way she already has. Because time is a limited form of experience. That's what he said. She doesn't know what he means, so he explains it with an example and an allegory. The blocks are the whole world, everything in the whole universe in fact. One block is the pyramids, the other is Emma Stone, and the other block is a chili con carne. The lesbian mom is walking around and from her perspective these blocks are everything. But Alma and Jacob are up here and they see the blocks for what they are. Just blocks. He explains further that she is not really up here but has one foot up here and the other down there. Jacob then uses a driving stick shift versus an automatic transmission as an allegory, that the automatic is easier but you are not really driving, the car drives you. So he wants her to focus and take control, and we get a nice little argument after Jacob learns that nobody taught Alma to drive a stick shift. These explanations are very well done and it makes dumb people like me understand how things work. At least I hope I understood this explanation. We learned that Jacob tried on his own to find out the truth, but every time he gets close to his death, he gets pushed away by his trauma. In the evening at home, Jacob pulls her again away to show her something. Alma asks him what if it is not safe for her to be like this. He answers with, what if everything in the universe is predetermined and people should take a chill pill because they don't actually control anything? I think this was a rhetorical question, and that only a few people can determine the outcome of something. At least I come to this conclusion to the pieces of information we got till now. Jacob shows Alma a class in which he talked about time travel. We learn of a new character, Thanos, and that he found out how time travel could work. We learn about the research Jacob did with shamans, and it has something to do with their brains. Alma is focusing on the hug, but Jacob says that she's focusing on the wrong part, that they are talking about the rearranging of the fundamentals of time. So the rearranging of blocks, maybe? And if you can change the blocks, you can change the outcome or something. And it seems that the biological component does matter. And Alma seems to have this too. The question then is, why does she only see her father? Does he have to have this condition too, in order to communicate with her? Why is he the only one she sees or interacts with? We then jump back into Alma's house. The order of the photos are different again, but this time Sam tells her that he changed it because Alma said it is different. She says that this is not the right order either. He then admits that he didn't know they were in an order to begin with. So on what base did he change the order? Do it just randomly and hope you do it right? Alma's behavior gets more and more eccentric since the accident. She shows her bruise without thinking of the kids. She doesn't pay attention in her job when kids could get hurt. Her boss gets so worried about her ability to look out for the kids that he even calls Sam. Alma speaks on the next day with Thunder about the call. He gives her another shot, and if something is weird she shall talk to him and they will figure something out. Right after this conversation, her father shows up and wants to explain stuff further, which starts to push her again to jump somewhere. She tells him that this is too much, so he slows down. She explains that she needs to function, and he has an idea. We already saw in the previous episode that he can control where they jump, and it doesn't jump because he listens to her. That could be a coincidence, and she's actually responsible even if it's subconscious. But at this point I think he is more in control than she is. It would fit with what we learned about his mother and his knowledge about her and her ability. He has an idea for an anchor and jumps into her mom's attic. Who made the jump? Jacob again. He gives Alma an electronic blackjack game. Alma also lost in this jump 2 days. His respect for her time is non-existent, but he tells her that she can go back to them anytime she wants. That may be because she can go back whenever she wants, but it is still not cool to throw someone so spontaneously into unknown situations. In this case, it is not so harmful, but if this can happen like this, then I'm sure jumps could get dangerous, like we have it in this episode. Alma is with her mother and her sister looking for a wedding dress. She talks with her mother about the girl Thanos. Her mom thinks that Alma knew about her. Alma replies with no, she didn't know about her. And I like how the show treats you. I asked myself, why is her mother not asking how she knows about her? But when she was in the attic, she read a paper, and in this article was Thanos mentioned too, since she died with Jacob, and Carmen is surely aware of what she has in the attic. Becca is asking Alma why she is here if she doesn't want to help her. Alma tells her that she isn't good at this and adds that she could get with her to a bar because she is good with that. Becca of course asks which bar she means. After Alma said to the bar they always go to, Becca gets understandably frustrated. Alma manipulated the situation that Becca led to be unfaithful. Becca then asks annoyed if she's seriously bringing Sam to the wedding. I don't get why Becca is against this when Alma is together again with him. But we also had in the second episode a random jump to 2 weeks after the hospital thing. Sam asks Alma if she's still mad with him. Did something happen between Sam and Becca? I don't think they had something with each other, since Becca doesn't think that Sam is a good catch. But why should Becca have something against Sam coming to the wedding? This fight triggers a jump into the accident in which her father died. Alma is panicking and gets a blackjack game out of herself. For some reason she's driving the car too, and she looks back as would she know that someone is behind her. That could be like the moment in the hospital in the elevator, also that Thanos touches her arm, as would Alma do this on purpose with the accident. I have so many questions. So she gets the game out and can jump back to the wedding dress part. Changes continue to happen. Now the couch is not in the same place. They look and it is in a different position. Sam just says weird and doesn't really care, which makes Alma a bit more eccentric. I would say paranoid, but since I mentioned eccentric in relation to a job, I stay with eccentric. He's swearing that he's messing with her, and when he does this, we get this weird animation. And we had this as well with Thunder. I can imagine that she kind of saw more versions of what happens at the same time, or if it shows us that maybe something got changed and her brain tries to catch up. After this happens, she focuses again more on the game, so it has to do something with time. She then asks Sam directly if something happened between him and Becca. He's like always vague and appears to not really care. He then argues that Becca is weird, which Alma disagrees on. The next day at her job she is playing the game all the time but seems to notice everyone around her, so focusing on the game really works. We also didn't see Jacob or Alma jumping. Thunder isn't a fan of her playing blackjack all the time since the kids wanna play with it too. And Alma says it herself that this would be irresponsible to let the kids play with it. And at the end of the day she gets eccentric again and wants the mother of the boy Alma sees drowning about him being around water and that he shall learn swimming. And for everyone else this has to look pretty unnerving, to say it nicely. Thunder seems to be closer with them since he says to them, "You are leaving so soon?" Which I can imagine will not help with staying at Alma's job for Alma. And at the end Sam hits his toes on the couch, which stands even more wrong, and all the boxes from her mom's attic are here and Alma is now in full detective mode. She explains that she is figuring out who killed her father. Sam then answers that he didn't know that this happened and asks if this was really what happened. Alma says pretty sure. Sam then asks how school was and if she is going to go to bed. Sam still stands there and she takes out her death aid, which cuts her away from him literally and figuratively. So, this was my review of episode 3. What did you think about this episode? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter, you can find the link in the description box down below. Thank you for watching, have a nice one, you take care, see ya.
So does anything move faster than light?
No.